So I'll be doing React case part and you will be doing test part. I will give you what I have currently, so you can start from there and then we will work more on it. Okay, so let me give you this part. Okay, so let me change this text to, maybe I can say, my application. Okay, I'll just put my application, and in the text I'll change hello world to my application. Here I'll run npm start, and here I will run npm run test to see what percentage we have in the test cases. Okay. Okay, let's run the yarn test. Yarn test, run test. And here I'll use yarn start. Okay, so just use yarn. So here if you see, I have 100% covered for app.js. I'm not worried about index.js and the report vital, which I will skip in one of the configuration files. So my only concern is the app.js, which is this one. So if we want to skip also these two files, we can see here just coverage config. So let's check what we have to do. So in the package.json, if I put something, the just part, and I can put what things I have to skip, what files I have to skip, I can do that. So let's do that. I'll go to package.json. I'll create one more jest part, and in jest part I will say, I will go to coverage path ignore. So let's use this coverage path ignore, and it has the array, and here I will, I have to use like this. So here what part I have to skip, I have to mention. So for example, I'll mention root directory dot source dot index dot base. Let's try to run this and see if it is really working. Okay, so once I put pattern what I want to ignore, so it should not check in the coverage. Yeah, so it's not taking in the coverage. So let's also put this part in the ignore part. Okay, so let's take this one also, so that we can only test what we want to test. Okay, let's put this here. Okay, let's run again. Okay, now we have only one file here and 100% is passed. There are a lot of other configuration also which are not needed for now. Maybe in your practical project in your office, you may go through all these settings and you may use some of them. Okay, for now, we don't need any other settings for here. Okay, so we skip two files. I will give you this part also if you want to put it on your package.json. Okay, now I'll start writing something here in my application, and we will see. We'll see the test cases for each one. So let's create a form. On submit, I will call one function called as handle submit, which I will write down. I haven't written it. And here I will create a div tag, and I'll create a lot of different form fields. Okay, so maybe I create one of them here now. We'll say strong. Let's say name. I'm taking the name of the person. And here I'll put BR. Okay, here I'll put input tag type equal to text name equal to name, value equal to, I will put some value, and on change I will call the function called as handle change. Okay, so this is what I will do. I'll create a state variable, constant state set state equal to react.useState, and initially it will be object, and in the object I'll put name equal to empty1, and this value will be nothing but the state.name. And when we do on change, I will call the function called as handle change. Okay. I'll also create another function called as handle submit. And when someone tries to change this input box, I will call the handle change function, and here I will call the set state function inside it, and I'll say I'll take the previous value. Here I'll put the function, arrow function in the state, and s is the previous value which we have, and here I will say return .s. So I will take the previous value of the state, and then I will say e.target.name is equal to e.target.value. So we will get the name part from here and the value part from here. We will update the state, and once the state is updated, name will change to some name which will be displayed here again. Okay, so let's try to do console log of state also to see what state is coming. Okay, so we will do this also. Now let's check. So it is passed because it's checking my application in the test case, and this application is working fine. But the percentage is reduced because we added a lot of lines. So let's check first on the browser, and then we'll write the unit test case for that one. So here the application is there. I'll putting name. My name is this, and you will see state with having the name this one. Okay. Also, I'll do one thing in this change. I will go to index.js. I will remove the strict mode. With strict mode, it is loading 2 times, which you are seeing here 2 times. Because of strict mode, now it is not strict mode. It should say only 1 time. Okay. So that's how it will work. 1 second. Okay. So now so this is working fine as expected. Now we will write down the unit test case for this one. So I'll give you, just change this to remove the strict part from this index, and then I will give you this file. You have to write down the more unit test cases so that it should become 100%. Okay. So I'll give you 5 minutes to do that. This is the new file. I put it in the React Telegram chat group. So just write down so that it should be 100% again. So previously, before my code, it was 100%. Now, after I write this code, it became 71, something like this. And then now you have to write more test cases here so that it should be 100% everywhere. Okay. So I'll give you 5 minutes. So if you are unable to do that, then let me know. I will just go on building my application and then you can work on the test cases later. But if you have computer ready and you are working, then it's good. And if somehow you cannot work on this one, then we'll do this later. You can do this later. I will just finish my app and then rest you can write down the test case later when you are ready. But if you want to write test case now, it will be good. We can see what problems you are facing and we can resolve that. Okay, I got one response. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, let me put it and I'll check. Only only one person has responded and others have not responded. So let's see how it goes. We need to put a fire event here because we want to put some change and the role by input. So generally, you know what you have to do. I don't prefer to use role by input. I prefer role by text or okay, yeah, and this also has to be put in the double or single quote. But generally, I prefer to give some name. Maybe I can say data. You can change the file if you want. It's not that 100% you have to take the file which I have given you. So I'll say input underscore name, and then I can take this input underscore name here. One second. So I will say get by test ID, and that makes stick. You know, if you take input, there will be many input box, and then you will be miscalculating things. So okay, so I'll take the get by test ID. I will put the input name which I have given here, and then fire event change will take this element, and then once. Okay, so what we did, input name. So input name is their data test ID, and then I fire the change event. Once I fire the change event, it will automatically fill the value with what you have provided, target dot value, whatever test one. And since you change the test this element to test one, so element dot value. So the element is this input box dot value should also change, and that will become to be test one. So this looks good. Let's see. Okay, so now this is going 100, this is going 100, this 75. So basically, I'm only concerned with these two. 100 are okay, but we have to see why 75 is there. Maybe let's see if we can get something why 75 is there. I will open this coverage folder. Let's see if we can find something why 75 is there. And then I'll go to report and I'll go to index.html. Let's go. And if we don't find anything here, then it's fine. So we go to app.js. So, okay, function says this is 7 out of 7 correct. Branches, statement branches 0 out of 0, 75, and this is 3 out of 4. Let's see what we see here. Okay, since we have not completed the submit part because of that reason, it's giving some imperfect results. So we will be completing it soon. Don't worry about this and this now. Okay, let's try to do it. Now, those, okay, maybe everyone is not responding. It's fine, but I don't like this part. Okay, so let's move further. So let's put one more field and then we are done with this field part. Maybe I'll say name, and here I'll say some description. Okay, just description, and here description. It's also a text box. Generally, description is the text area, but for now, I will use the same thing, description. I'll use a text input. I want to make things simpler for now. I'll add one more description. Okay, so once I say description, and it's saying description here, it's fine. Okay, so once I add this one, and I will also add one button. Okay, so let's add one button. Button type equal to submit, and name of the button will be submit. So once user will click the submit button, I will create another state variable where I will put this data console not constant data state data. So data will be array of name and description. Okay, so as soon as someone click the submit button, I will call the handle submit, and in the handle submit I will call the state data, and state data will get an arrow function, and here we have the previous data, for example D, and I'll return, since this is the array, so I'll return previous array, that is the .D, and comma, I will put this state means it will go name and description. So what will handle submit will do? It will take the previous array, and whatever new thing I have added it will append it here. So let's try to log the data also. Okay, so right now data is empty. Let's put something test2. And okay, when I click submit, it's refreshing the page, so we don't want that one. So what we'll do, I'll take event here, and I will say e.prevent default. Okay, so let's take this one now again. Test2. I click submit. When I click submit, the name and test is added in the data, but this is not cleared, so we need to clear also. So let's clear it. I'll say set state. I can give the new state by saying name and description to be empty. So once I click submit button, these two will become empty. Test2, it's added in the data here, and this has become empty. If I add more, you will see data is not 2, and this become empty. Okay, so now what you have to do, like you have written the test case for the name, same thing you have to do the test case for the description, and for the submit button I'll also give data test ID equal to submit. And you have to do same thing for the description, what you have done it for this one, like this one, for the name part. You have to do same thing for the description. And when user will click the submit button, you have to click the submit button. When user will click the submit button, you have to check that this value should be empty and this value also should be empty after submit button. So that's what you have to do. I'll give you this file again in the Telegram group. So take this file, try to add one more test case for this one, and then another test case for the submit button. In the submit button, you have to take both the elements, because when you click the submit button, both values should be empty. Okay, so you have 5 minutes to do this. Okay, let's see the solution now. Okay, let's see. Let me check. Okay, this closing is not there. Okay, should be able to submit the data. So you're taking the button, you're taking the test ID, you're clicking the button. And if you don't pass this also for the clicking button, it's fine. Okay, then expect value 1 to be empty and value element 2 to be empty. Okay, let's save it and see. Okay, so we got 100% and 100% this one, so it is passed. Okay, and we see the data is updated with name and description. Okay, why data is there like this? Okay, let me check. Okay, so you are not adding this change event. Since you're not adding the change event, so what happened, this is becoming empty. So let's try to call the change event here 2 times. One will be the element 1 and second will be the second. Test 1, test 2. Let's take it right now. Okay, so now I'm able to see test 1 and test 2 here. Okay, so this is fine. We can add one more test case similar to this one, though it is 100% I know, but let's put one test case for description. Okay, so let's add one more for description. Okay, so this is good. We got 100% also. Okay, let's move further. Okay, so once I get this data, I will display. This is a form to capture the data, and then here I will display the information. So here I'll check if data.length should be greater than 0, then only I will display my UL tag. And this UL tag will be displayed if data.length is greater than 0, and here will be data text ID equal to, I will put something, maybe I will say table. Something, think about this like a table or rows or maybe anything you can name it, or data. I just named table, and for each data I will map it. So I'll say data.map, and here is the arrow function. I'll put the record here, and here I'll return li with key equal to, key will be nothing but index, which I have here, index, and here I will put rec.name dr rec.description. So what we are doing, we are going through all the data and putting name and description here, displaying it, name and description, and after description I will put just one HR to know that this is completed and we are in the next row. And for each li I will put data dot test ID equal to, I will put rows. So this data dot test ID is the rows. Let's see how it looks in the here. I'll put test 1, test 2. I'll click submit button. I'm getting this extra this one. Okay, so test 1, test 2 is there. Then I'll put test 3, test 4. Okay, so I'm getting this one, test 3, test 4. Okay, that's all. So I'll give you this app.js again, and then you have to write down the test cases for this table and for the rows. Okay, so let me give you this one. Okay, right now it's showing the 100 all, but we need to finish all the test cases. Even if it's not able to drag this part, then also we need to finish it. So just write down the test case for these two. I'll delete this console, I don't need it, or I'll keep it for now, then I'll delete it. So if you try to test this part, you have to use get all by. Get by will not work. You have to use get all by test ID rows. And then you have to count the number of rows. Since you have put one test data, then it will be the one row. If you have put more than one test data, then it will be more than one, depending on how much data you have inserted. Okay, let's see now. I think only one person is giving the answer. Rest are not doing it. Okay, let's write down this one. So you cannot pass data like this here because we don't take data here in this as a props. Okay, so this part data, getting data is not possible. So what you have to do, you have to take this element, input element, or maybe this element. You have to fire all this one. Okay, so you have to fire this. So with this way, we are entering the data. Okay, and then here will be element table, and this will be element rows. So table is only one, so all will not work. Okay, so this table, we don't repeat the table. Once the data is greater than 0, we have only one table. So for table, we will not take all. And we will check with element.table is in the document to be in the document. Okay, but with element rows, since we have inserted only one row, so the element rows will have the length of 1. Okay, so let's test this condition. Okay, one failed. Let's see what is failing. So let's run it again. Sometimes there is error. Okay, one failed. Let's see what is failing. Okay, A. By mistake, A is not on. There's spelling mistake. Okay, now it is passed 100%. So what here we are checking? We are checking whether table is there or not and length is there. Let's check what is the length here now. Though it is working, I want to check the rows. Many rows are there. Okay, so we have element rows as 1. Okay, so this is the array of 1. So this is fine. Okay, so what we did, we created the button element, we created the input 1, input 2, we changed the input 1, we changed the input 2 to some dummy value. We click the button. Once the button is clicked, there is one record, and that record is shown here to be 1. And we also get the table to be in the document, because if we have data 0, then no record is displayed and this will not be available. But if we have 1 data, that means this will be available. So we are getting this true and we're getting this also true. So everything is looking good, all is fine, and we're getting 100% for this one. So I will not be taking the Redux test for you. This is what I wanted to do, because most of the projects we have a form which you can test as we have done it here, and we have the data also which you can test like this one. So regarding the Redux, I'm not going to take the test, but you can refer to my Redux class to see how we test in the Redux. That's all for today. Any questions?